Have you ever driven your car and you felt it shifting in a very jerky way, or you have delayed shifts in your gearbox? That is a sign that you need to change your transmission fluid. Joe here, and welcome to another video of Gear Culture. To get our job started, we have our 4 jack stands. We're going to raise the car up and leveled, because to do this job, the car has to be leveled. Then we have our filler syringe. This is what we're going to use to fill the ATF into the transmission box. Then also we have our Castrol Transmax. This is the ATF. My car uses a GM transmission, and according to the specifications, you need to use Dexron VI to service it. Of course, the car came with Dexron 3, but that was discontinued. And Dexron 6 is backward compatible, so we'll be using that. We have 7 liters with us, though we know we may end up using about 5 or 5.5 liters, but it's better to have more than having less. Then we have the Threadlocker. That is what we're going to use to hold the bolts back into the pan. Based on the manufacturer's specifications, we don't need to torque the pan tightly, so we'll use that so that in case there are vibrations, they don't come loose. Then we have our clothes, pieces of cloth that we'll be using to clean up whatever mess that is on the transmission before we put back the pan. Then we have our filter. We have the gasket. These are the ones we're going to replace in the whole procedure. Then, of course, we have our tools. We have a torque wrench right over there. Then we have our spanner and a few other wrenches. If you have an electric one, the better. It makes your work much easier. Then we have our container that we're going to use to trap or hold the oil that flows out of the transmission, the old one specifically. So without wasting time, let's get this job started. I'd actually forgotten to mention, we also need an OBD scanner. So with this, we're going to use it for 2 purposes. One, to monitor the temperature of the transmission as we fill it up with the transmission fluid, as well as also use it to clear the one fluid or one ATF cord that currently the car has. To get this job started, we'll start off by jacking up the car. And these things there. This. So just a waste of time. Let's get this other one. For some reason, this is like the worst jack I've ever seen. The one thing I did notice about scissor jacks is that they can get harder to use, or even scissor if not well greased up. Actually, they can get dangerous once this happens, as you will be seeing shortly. I should skip gym. This can replace a day in the gym, or a week in the gym. Because this, I'm engaging my biceps, triceps, the core. Have I wrecked it? Yup. Goodbye. Now, that's one reason why you should never go on the car without jack stands. That was a little scary. Both the jacks I had, or the jacks, got broken. And I had to opt for a bottle one. So this is a 2-ton jack. This car itself is way below 2 tons, so this should be good for the job. A jack should only be used to lift the car, and after that, the stands are to be safely placed on the car at the jacking points so that you can safely walk under the car. Hey. So with the car finally up, it took way much more time than I thought it would. But anyway, up and leveled. The next thing we're going to do is go under and loosen up the fill plug. Once that is done, we can go ahead and drain the oil out of the pan. We're under the car, and a few things to undo here. For starters, we can see this is a GM transmission. How you can tell it apart is that
The GM transmission has a metallic pan, and the ZF transmission has a plastic one. What we see here is a metallic one, much as it's a bit dented. This previous one of this car didn't give it so much love. As you can see, also the protective under tray plastics are all damaged, but we'll slowly take them off. And once that is done, we should be able to access our pan fully. You can see there's a drain plug here and there's a fill plug here.
Finally have our covers removed, much as they're all trashed up. We'll have to figure out how to put something back. I'll probably just order for new ones because these are all totally trashed. With that off, the next thing we're going to do is try and loosen the fill plug. Once the fill plug is loose, we'll go ahead and drain the oil. So for that, we need the 17 millimeter. I'll go in there and try and crack it. Slowly. Oops. There you go. We've broken it loose. So I can even see some little, if there's some fluid coming through, then that means the transmission had some, okay, yes. We have some ATF coming down, meaning we're never low on transmission fluid. That's a good thing. The next thing we're going to do now is break loose the fill plug. But before we do that, let's get our pan nearby so that we don't have things spilling all over the place. With that out of the way, let's loosen this thing up. Let's see if we can get the oil flowing through. It's not that comfortable being under here, but I don't have really much of a choice, do I? So let's loosen this a bit. Okay, that's good. That's good. So we'll slowly loosen this. It's going to start flowing out. I'll slowly loosen this. It's going to start flowing out. One, be careful that we have our pan under. Make sure you do this when the transmission is not hot. There you go. It's brown. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. But yeah, we need to remove this. It's a little bit red, which is a good sign. If it was black, then that would worry me a lot. So as that is draining, what I could do next is also loosen the fill plug to allow for this stream of oil to move much faster and way more controlled. So let's loosen that as well. That way all the fluid should come out. Should help the fluid run out much faster. We'll have to check how many liters we have actually drained out of this. This looks good. I don't see, the oil doesn't look shiny, meaning it's just worn out, but it's not caused any damage to the mechanicals. So we'll go back and close this up. Put it back in the drain plug. Next, let's drop the pan slowly.
One might wonder, why do I have to change my transmission fluid if my car is shifting gears properly? Well, Just like you periodically change out your engine oil and brake fluid, it is important to change out your transmission fluid when it hits about 70,000 miles.
I'm surprised that these things are not seized on here, making my work way easy.
Transmission fluid serves so many purposes other than just transferring power from the engine to the drivetrain. It also lubricates the internals of the gearbox components, like the gears and the bearings, preventing metal-to-metal contact and reducing friction. It also helps cool the transmission's internals to prevent overheating, which can cause significant damage. It provides the hydraulic pressure needed to activate the clutches and bands which engage different gears. And last but not least, it also helps clean internal parts by suspending dirt and debris, preventing them from building up and causing blockages.
Next, we pull down this pan, rather the filter. Oops, that's it. That's it. You always want to be careful. Now I'll have to remove that seal that is stuck in there. With the filter removed, the seal remained in here. We need to remove it before we install the new filter, because it also comes with a seal. It's a bit stuck in there. I'm going to try and find ways of pulling it out. I'm going to pull either using a screwdriver or something, or bend the ring on the seal so it can easily come out. It's a bit tight here. It's hard for me to record it while doing it, but once it's out, I'll explain how I did it.
I finally got the seal out. I just had to mangle it up. I just had to destroy it because it wasn't going to come out either way. So I just had to destroy it. It was totally sealed in there properly. So that's the old one, and this is the new one that is supposed to be going in. So I'm slowly going to fit this back in. Then once that is in, I will go ahead and fit in the filter. And once that's in as well, we'll close up the pan. But the pan also needs some cleaning. And like I mentioned earlier, we have shavings here. We have to remove this magnet and clean it up as well. Let's remove this magnet right over there. That's why, thank you. Wipe this off. This is satisfying. It's really satisfying. So we'll put that on the side. We'll further clean it down. Cleaning this up so that the seal has a flat, clean surface to seal up against. Otherwise, if you have dirt in here, it's going to lift the seal in some spots, and that's when you start getting leaks from your gearbox. We don't want that, because that introduces another issue of you running low on transmission fluid, which can cause low pressure issues as well as starvation here and there, and yeah, that can damage your transmission in the long run. This thing says warning, lifetime oil. Yeah, lifetime oil. Use only BMW oil. Lifetime is not lifetime, so maybe it's the lifetime of the, I don't know, unless this guy is supposed to break down after 100,000 miles. But always refill. Of course, they're talking about refilling it between 30 to 50 degrees Celsius. That's the oil filling temperature. So we have that bit of information with us to make use of. Just like we wipe down the transmission pan cover, or rather the transmission pan, we'll also wipe down this surface here, such that by the time we get our seal here, it's on a clean surface
and we don't have any contaminants or dirt that will potentially fall into the pan and mix up with the ATF.
With the clean transmission fluid, I'm just trying to get a bit of it and oil up the seal that we're going to install. I'm doing this so that it's easily slid inside without pinching or tearing or scratching any surface. It should just slide in, so I'm just oiling it up a little.
Now we have to install the seal in there. It's supposed to go in there. Trying to see how I can do it with one hand. Looks a bit challenging. I'll just stick in 2 fingers there. Try and squeeze it in. It's there, not fully in, so I'll try and press it on the sides just to keep squeezing it in until it gets in place. Oops, jumped out. I got myself a 23mm socket. I hope this works. 23mm. Better works. Just position it properly. You don't want it to go in awkwardly. Behave this time, okay? Just get this guy in. I've finally persuaded this seal into position. That guy there. It was a menace. I had to use a 23mm socket. Rather, yeah, 21mm socket to persuade it in there. I just had to slightly tap against the edges until it sat flush there. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is fit in the filter. Then we can close this up. In goes the new filter. You have to push it in until it clips. There you go. There you go. Are we all good here? Yeah. Just be seated in there. Well, done. Now the next thing we're going to do is put the pan back with the seal in place. Then we will use some bolts to hold it up. We'll make sure that we have to put Threadlocker on the rest of the bolts as we put them in. Then we'll get to torque them down to 10 Newton meters. All right, so with that clean pan, goes on the new gasket, or seal rather, not gasket. We want to make sure we carefully take it out without causing bends like I just did there. Ideally, we want it to remain as flat as possible because that's how it's supposed to sit onto the whole pan against the transmission. There is a small notch where it lines up with this space here, or with this dot here, so that you don't put it in any way that is you find. Once that goes in, all holes should line up. Just make sure that everything is flat. So what we want to do is we are going to torque it down lightly. We do not want to tighten. We just want to squeeze this seal enough, or gasket, or rather seal. We want to squeeze it enough for it to put pressure on the pan at the bottom, as well as on the gearbox housing as well. That way, we will not be causing damage. It will just be holding it in place. Now, with that all lined up, we are slowly going to go under and guide it with at least 2 bolts, one here and one there. So what I'm going to do is use some of this Threadlocker on the bolts themselves as I put it back in. And we use this to prevent the bolts that have been torqued down with a low spec from vibrating out of the transmission, since there's a lot of vibration in the transmission whenever you're driving. Just want to make sure this goes in without us pinching this thing awkwardly. Otherwise, it will be tossed once it's pinched badly. Slowly. Slowly. Okay. This looks good.
finger tight. We have that in. Then next, we're going to put Threadlocker on the rest.
Again, this is to prevent these things from vibrating out when you're driving.
Of course, it's recommended to use new bolts because usually the new bolts come with already a coating that allows it to seal in place. But if you must use the old ones, I would advise or recommend that you use the Threadlocker. Once the bolts were hand screwed in, I went ahead and tightened them using a crisscross pattern, starting from the center and working outwards to ensure even compression of the seal to prevent leaks. I then finished by torquing down the bolts to 10 Newton meters using a calibrated torque wrench. Now comes the time to fill up the transmission. To do that, I use a filler syringe. Much as it's kind of tedious, the fill-up is more controlled and less messy. It would have been better or even easier using a pump, but I didn't have one, so I just had to work with what I had in it. Honestly speaking, for a moment there, I felt like a doctor giving a patient an injection. I kept filling the transmission until there was a steady dribble of ATF overflow coming through the fill hole. I then plugged it up, and now this gets us to the next step of the procedure.
We're hooking in our scanner. Let's get the car started. What we want to do is be able to monitor the temperature of the transmission. Usually it takes about 10 to 15 minutes to get to temperature, but we'll monitor it from here.
With the car running, you'd want now to start shifting through the gears just to make sure that the fluid goes through all the channels and fillings within the transmission. So you move the car from parking to reverse, to neutral, to drive, take it through the manual gear changes, then back to reverse, and keep on doing that until the transmission gets closer to the temperature you want it to be.
Right now our temperature is about 38 degrees Celsius, so that's the oil temperature in our gearbox. We are in the right temperature, so we can go ahead and continue filling up until it dribbles again.
With the car now running, you have to be very, very careful not to touch that exhaust pipe because it's very hot. So as I kept filling in the ATF, I kept watching the temperature just to make sure that it stayed between 30 to 50 degrees Celsius. Otherwise, you'd have to shut off the engine and wait for the transmission fluid to cool for you to do it again.
All right, so now that we have finished filling up, we've actually used about 4.5 liters. We'll go into service mode on our tool, and what we want to do is under the powertrain section, we want to go into transmission control, and once in there, we have to mention that we've done an oil change, a transmission unit oil change. So now when I hit yes, it's going to reset the counter for the transmission control. So it has been successfully reset, and after resetting, we would be done with the service function.
What you see here is the old transmission fluid and the new transmission fluid. As you can see, the old one is dark, while the new one is cherry red.
Over time, and after several heat cycles, the fluid breaks down and loses the properties that help it perform the tasks I just mentioned. Now, that's why you'd want to change it out after every 70,000 miles.
Time to get the car down.
Being able to jack the car up, get it leveled, drain the old oil out of the thing, drop the pan, change out the filter, put in a new filter, put back the pan, filled in the ATF, gone through the service procedure of resetting the service time for the gearbox, and now the car is back on its wheels. I don't know why it's still there. But we're going to drive this a couple of kilometers and we'll see how best it adapts. But again, also after give or take 100 or 200 kilometers, or maybe 300 at most, I will go again and change out the fluid. This time around, I'll only just change out the fluid without opening up the pan. So that's how you go about it. If you've learned a lot or quite a number of things within my DIY tutorial or walkthrough, please go ahead, like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Go ahead and share this video with other people. Comment, I'd like to know, or get a few pieces of advice from any of you that think one or two things could have been improved. Then probably in my next service, I will be able to work on that. Otherwise, it is the general process that you'd use, not only on a BMW, but give or take any other car. You just have to get the pan out, change the filter, and usually go through the procedures that are provided by the manufacturer when it comes to filling in the right amount of fluid, and also make sure you use the right ATF. Do not mix transmission fluids of other gearboxes in the gearbox of your car if it's a totally different gearbox. With that said, I would like to wish you a good time. Enjoy your evening. It's evening right here. Whatever time it is in your side of your planet. Ciao. Yeah.